Hello. We are starting Excel for the first time. I'm excited. I hope you're excited. If you're stressed out about it, let's not be. Um, I'm going to do a walkthrough with you of chapter one in Excel. So let me go ahead and share my screen. If you want to follow along with me, go ahead and pause for just a second and get your Excel chapter one SimBook training open. Please use the link in Blackboard to get there rather than, scrolling from the last chapter and hoping you get there eventually. Always make sure you use those direct links. Creating and editing workbooks. Excel uh is is a software that does everything that you tell it to, but you have to be very exact in how you tell it to do certain things. So keep that in mind. If you forget one little figure or one little dot or one, it won't work. So if you're new to Excel and you don't understand the basics yet of formulas and all of this kind of stuff, don't panic. We're gonna get there. That's what chapter one's for. So if Excel is not really new to you, um, then still follow along, please. You might pick up something new. All right. Excuse me. Creating, saving, and opening a workbook. So in Word, they're called documents. In in Excel, they're called workbooks, and then each workbook has worksheets. Now, if you're going to create a new workbook, you can, obviously open Excel and then click File and New. Same way with saving. You're going to save and close in Excel in the same way that you do that in Word. That's kind of how Microsoft does its thing. If you're saving it, I always save my stuff to my PC, or I'm actually on a Mac. Um, I always save my stuff to my computer rather than to OneDrive. Um, opening workbooks is the same as opening a file. You can double click on the file itself from your desktop or from your documents folder or from OneDrive, wherever that's coming from. If you want to save a workbook with a different file name, you can go save as, and it actually creates a copy. So it says, click the File tab, click Save As. When autosave is active, click Save a Copy. Let's go ahead and start this. Save a copy of the file to the Documents folder with the name PPE1-1. So File, Save As, enter the file name PPE1-1, and we need it to be in the Documents folder, and I don't see that here, so we're going to browse. There's the Documents folder. We can go ahead and change the name here, PPE1-1, and then click Save. So the where is important. That way you can go and retrieve it whenever you want to. If you're not good at attaching documents or submitting assignments in Blackboard because you can't find where you saved it, the where is important. If you're not sure where you put it, always put it on your desktop. If you're at school and can't save it to the desktop, always save it to your documents folder, in my opinion. OneDrive is also a good option because if you're logged in at school and you save it to OneDrive and then you go home, you can log in and open your OneDrive and there are your files. So if you're a OneDrive fan, that's a way to do it too. Workbook file formats. Excel workbooks are saved as .xlsx files. That means Excel workbook. Workbook Excel documents prior to have an XLS ending. Make sure you're kind of paying attention to that. Entering and deleting data. Enter labels and values. So, when you have an Excel sheet open, I'm going to back up for a second. I think they are forgetting some important information. First off, the little boxes inside of Excel are called cells. Your sheets are down here, and you can create as many sheets as you want with this plus sign. You can also name your sheets. Now, inside of these cells, you can type anything you want to. And just because you type numbers doesn't mean that it's mathematically paying attention. Oop, she wants me to add these two together. Just because you're typing numbers doesn't necessarily mean that Excel is paying attention. If you're not giving it the directions that we'll go over later, there's going to be this one step that you make, and it makes Excel start paying attention. Oh, she wants me to add something, or I'm supposed to do a formula, or it's just a document with a whole bunch of boxes on it. We can organize it, we can make it pretty, but until you actually need to add, subtract, multiply, divide, do some kind of math, it's just boxes that you can type in, okay? Now, each cell is individual, and they're labeled. This one is A1. Enter the text perfect vacation rentals in cell A1. Perfect. Well, perfect vacation rentals. Done. Edit cell contents. You double click in a cell to edit something. It says delete the contents in cell B10. So column B all the way down to 10. It says delete. So I would double click, hit the backspace, select B10, and I did. Hang on a second. Oh, it wants me to B10, delete. Why is it telling me I'm doing it wrong? Hit the delete key both times. B10, did I click the wrong cell? B10. Also, it tells you right here which cell you're in. I did hit the delete key. I don't know why it didn't work last time. That worked that time. There we go. Close. Evidently, it's waiting. So we're going to let it load. Don't know why it's taking long. There we go. Align and indent cell contents. So let's go. Use the increase indent button to indent the contents of cells B5 through B18. Those are already highlighted. Show hint. Click increase indent. Home tab, got it. Alignment group, got it. Increase indent. It's right there. So it moved it over, almost like your tab key would do. Also, when you're typing in Excel, you can just hit the tab button to keep type to move over to the next box or to the next cell. Use the center button on the home tab to center the cells in A4 through G4. So they're already highlighted. The center button is here, you'll notice. Very similar things that you would have picked up on in your Word chapters. So you've got your tabs at the top, home, insert, draw. Some of them are the same. Some of them are different. Home, same. Insert, same. And then you start seeing some that you probably don't recognize. Review is very similar, but always remember that there are tabs at the top, and each tab is broken down by section. Clipboard, font, alignment, number. And within Microsoft, there will be a lot of similarities with some of the things. There will always be a font type and a font size and a font color, and like no matter what, if it's Word, Excel, PowerPoint, whatever, that will be uniform throughout, and it will be in the same spot in each one of them. So keep that in mind. The center button being one of the similar things. Use the center button on the Home tab to center the text. So you just click the center button and bam, now those columns are centered or those cells are centered. When you're selecting cells or and you're highlighting, there's a couple of different ways to do that. Use the fill handle to create a series. So use the fill handle in cell D4 to add the months to cell E4 through G4. Start in cell D4 here. The fill handle. Let's back up for a second. In Excel, every cell has some hidden buttons that you've got to know where to look for them. Okay? All right. This green box right here is the fill handle. And what this does, it's a basic copy and paste function. So this one is January. Excel knows that it is a month. In fact, in some ways, if you typed the whole word January, it may automatically abbreviate it the way it's abbreviated. But it knows that January is the first month, and the second month is February, and the third month is March. You get the point. The fill handle tells it, copy what's going on here and keep adding it along, okay? So if I take it and I drag it over, wait a minute. I did. E4. Did I not go far enough? Oh, I didn't stop at G. There we go. So it filled for us, and you can see the February on the screen. January, February, March, April. It knew that it was a month, and it knew what the preceding months are. So Excel is very smart that way. That's not the right word, but it knew. Okay. Autocomplete, and you can pick things from a drop-down menu. You can cut, copy, and paste in Excel in the same way that we do it in Word. You can cut, and copy and paste data, formulas, move things over. Let's see what's going to ask us to do. Use the cut button to place the selected cells on the clipboard and paste the clipboard contents in cell C4. So we don't want this in column G anymore. We need to move that on over to column C. So we're going to hit the cut button right here. Then we're going to go put our cursor or our highlighted cell. You only have to highlight one of them when it's something like this, and it'll move the whole column. And then you click paste, and it moved the whole column over, okay? Without changing anything else. When you copy cell contents, it's similar. You can drag and drop, you can copy and paste. When you get into formulas, there are some little changes that you've got to be aware of, and we'll get to that. Here's your first pause and practice. I challenge every single one of you to do this first pause and practice. Go back and practice the basic things. It'll give you a score. It's just not going in the grade book. Make sure that you're on the right track. If you do nothing else, work, rework, and work again, chapter 1. Do all of the extras, do all the pause and practices, do all of the stuff, unlimited amount of times before moving on to chapter 2. Understanding the basics of how Excel works is key in being able to move forward. Okay? Remember, cells, the fill box that's in a cell so you can drag and drop things. Um, all the things, okay? Functions slash formulas. Here we go. A formula is entered in a cell and calculates a result for numeric data. A function is a built-in formula. Excel has built-in formulas that they already know what the mathematical formula is that you and I learned in algebra class, okay? They already know what the formula is. They don't need your help with that. Now, there are a ton of advanced formulas out there that we use in the working world that I need this column to do this minus that, but highlight this and make this box red, and any number less than 5 needs to be blue, and we can create all of those formulas. We're not going to do that today. I want you to understand something major about Excel. In order for it to start listening, that it knows that it needs to mathematically add or subtract or something for you, you've got to tell it very specifically the right way. So there are, on this screen, it says use the sum function. There is a button, and I'll show it to you in a minute, called the sum button. And if you want to add this whole column of numbers together, sum, we already know that. You highlight, you click the sum button, bam, it gives you your answer. There's something I want you to notice on the screen. Hang on, right here. And I would try to, I don't know if it's going to let me zoom. There's a formula bar, and I'm going to show it to you in a second. Every cell has its own ability to have a different formula than all the rest. So every time you move your cursor to cell B1 versus B2, this bar will change. It will show you either one, what's typed in the box already, or two, the formula that was typed into that box for it to create the answer it is showing you. What's important about this? If you are manually telling it, add these numbers together, you have to start by typing the equals button. Now, in this example that we're going over, it's telling us to use the sum function. Because we're going to use an embedded function or formula that's already in Excel, Excel is going to put the equals button in there for us. But there will be a time that you are going to need to tell it, add this cell plus this cell or something. And in order to do that, you need to first hit the equal sign, because that's telling Excel, oh, pay attention. She wants me to do something. Equals, select the cell, plus, select the next cell, hit enter, bam, it just added them together. Okay? Now, let's keep, whoops, there we go. Where were we? We were here. Let's practice this. Calculate the total for cells D5 through G5 using autosums. D5 through G5. And the answer needs to go into H5. It's already highlighted for you, but you have, wherever the answer needs to go, you start there first, okay? So we're going to calculate, we're going to use the autosum button for these D5, D6, D7, D8. Also, something that we didn't go over. The colon in between those two cells means through. So D5 colon G5, that means D5 through G5, okay? That in Excel world, that's what that means. Now let's go find our formulas. There is the auto sum button. So we click the auto sum button. It naturally highlighted the group of numbers that was closest to. If needed, you literally just take your mouse and start highlighting. You just drag the mouse over all four, and then you'll notice that the formula is there for you. Equals, sum, parentheses, D5 through G5. Close the parentheses, hit enter. Done. Close. Now, function syntax. Let's not get confused. Don't anybody get overwhelmed. An Excel function has a syntax. The required elements and the order of those elements for the function to work. A while ago when I said we got to start with an equal sign if we're manually typing this stuff. Every function starts with an equal sign. Bam! Okay? Followed by the name of the function, sum, and a set of parentheses. So equals, it's telling it what to do. What are we doing? We're summing, we're adding. We're putting a group of numbers together and we're adding them together. Okay, here's the sum. And then immediately following that, you have to use a parentheses. We're adding what? The group of stuff in this set of parentheses here, okay? Now, within the parentheses, you enter the argument. Now, they get fancy with their words, all right? The argument is the cell reference or the value required to complete the function, meaning the range that you're adding in this case. We're adding B5 through B9 right here, okay? A function can have a single argument, meaning one cell, or multiple arguments. In equals sum B5 through B9, the argument is ranging all of the numbers in B5 through B9. But if you have individuals, so I don't need all of the numbers between B5 and B10. I don't need 6, 7, 8, and 9. You just need to add B5, B10, and B15. You still do the same thing, except you don't drag. You click B5, type a comma, click B10, type a comma, click B15, close your parentheses and hit enter. And it adds those three together without having to drag and drop anything. You can also, in that formula bar I showed you, you can manually type that in there. A lot of times I do that when I'm doing complex formulas because it's so very nitpicky that you need to make sure the equal sign is there, make sure the parentheses are in the right spot, make sure the correct function or formula identifier is there. So in this case, sum. The sum function has one argument, number n. A number argument can be a range, such as B11 through G11. You can sum up to 255 numbers or ranges at a time. The proper syntax for a sum function is the equal sign, sum, parentheses, number 1, 2, 3, 4, separated by commas, and then you close the parentheses. The number 1 argument is required and others are optional, meaning this one has to be there. There doesn't have to be multiple numbers behind it, because if you typed in a range in this section right here, then the rest is not necessary. You just have to close the parentheses. The sum function ignores empty cells. So if you've got numbers that you need to add and there's blank cells in between, you can actually do the whole thing. It's not going to mess that up as long as there's not a number. 0 is a number and does not mean it's blank. Keep that in mind. You can copy a function. You can edit an argument, meaning I wanted to add G5 through Z5, but I actually need to change that to H5 instead. You can edit that. You can resize, meaning I didn't need that whole column. I just needed the first 5. You can edit that. There's also average. So Blackboard keeps our grade book, but I can tell you that I actually have it also twice a semester. I download it into an Excel spreadsheet to see everyone's average. I've been teaching 15 years. One semester, the total column in Blackboard was wrong, and so I've never trusted it since then. So I actually use the average column a lot when I'm figuring final grades because I look and see what Blackboard has, and then I dump it all in Excel and I run this actual formula to make sure that everyone's average is correct. Enter a formula in cell D20, which is this one down here. To calculate the average value of cells in D5 through D18, be sure that the correct cell range appears in the formula. Enter a formula in cell D20 to calculate the average value of cells in D5 through 18. There's two ways to do this. One, you can click formulas. Underneath the auto sum arrow is going to be the most common used formulas right here. Sum, average, count, max, min. You can click average and then highlight D5 through D18. This one is D5 through D19. We don't need all that. We don't need D19. We need D18. It would screw up our answer, okay? There we go. So you use the box, that little box in the corner that I showed you in a couple of cells ago. It was green on that screen. On this one, it's blue. It's in the corner. I hold it down and I drag it up. And notice in my formula there, it changed. D5 to D18. And it has the parentheses in the wrong spot, I noticed. You can go up here in the formula. Click the auto sum. I wasn't doing it wrong. That's frustrating. Let's do it again. Formulas, average, change this to D. Hang on. D, I'll manually tap it. 5 through D18. Close parentheses, hit enter, continue. So the average score of that column was 4.5. Don't get too frustrated when it does that to you too. Using I think we're at the bottom. Hang on. I think it moved me to the top and I just need to scroll on. Yep. All right. Next, formatting cell data. A while ago, I said that there are some things that are true throughout all of the Microsoft capabilities. Font size, font color style, all of that stuff is what I went over. So they'll be in the same spot and they'll be very similar. So you already know how to do this, but doing it in Excel may be a tad different. Change the font in the selected cells to Calibri. So we're going to change this from Times New Roman to Calibri. Done. Change the font size to size 16. Done. Bold the text in the selected cells. They're highlighted already. So you just click the bold button and we're rocking and rolling. You can do a format painter the same way, and we did this in Word. So again, this one's not new. Apply the formatting from the selected cell A4 to cells B4 through H14. So we've already got A4 formatted correctly. We've done bold and whatever else that we've already done, okay? So it's saying we want all of that to be formatted the same. We're going to do Format Painter, bam, and then we want all of these to be, so I just drag and hold and highlight and then let go is what I'm doing on my mouse. So close. Format numbers. Now, apply the number style format to the cell range D20 to H20. So it's already highlighted. So number style. Number, here's the number section in this tab. We want it to be number style. It's actually labeled general right now. We're going to click number. Now, sometimes when you're in Excel and you're typing some numbers, you hit enter and then something like completely screws it up and you're like, that is not what I typed. Okay. One thing to always look at is the number style that it's set at. Because if it's set at time, for example, and you typed 1229, you didn't mean 1229 as in it's almost 12:30 and time to eat lunch. You meant it's $12.29. So make sure, are we talking currency? Are we talking plain numbers? Are we talking time? What are we talking about? So always, if you type in a number into an Excel cell and it changes drastically once you hit enter, and you're like, I did not type January 4th, but you did type 1/4. Check and see if it's a date, because actually one of these is two of these are dates. Change from general to number style. And notice it took it from a whole bunch of numbers down to 2 decimal points. Okay? Great. Add borders and fill using the ribbon. Add custom borders and fill. Merging cells. We did merge a cell in Word in chapter 4, so that won't be new, just the new location of what that is. Wrapping text, same thing. We wrapped a picture. So there's a lot of similarities. So don't let it scare you. Change the cell style of the selected cell to heading 2. Heading 2. So the cell styles like that, they'll have built-in color combos, fonts, all of that kind of stuff. Change the workbook theme. So there are themes, and we'll do this again later, but you'll notice that there's built-in themes that have a color scheme with matching fonts already built in. So you would highlight what you're wanting to change it to, and then it magically makes it pretty. Modifying columns, rows, and sheets. Let's see what we can do here. Change the column width to 7. I don't know if I'm in the right spot. Width. That's not it. Show me. Click the Format button, Home tab, Cells group. Here's the Cells group. Select Column Width. Format. Column width. Column width 7. Next. Change the row height to 24. Whoops, wrong button. Row height 24. Excellent. Auto fit columns. Auto fit rows. Insert a column or row. Insert a new row above row 13. Insert, insert row. There we go. You'll notice the blank row. Delete columns or rows. Hide or unhide. Hide row 9. Where's my hide button? All right, show me. Right-click the heading for row 9 and select hide. Well, I knew that, but... Oh, wait. Hide. There we go. Unhide row 9. It's not letting me. Let's try this. Unhide. There we go. So I did right click. I highlighted both of them and then just clicked right. My right click, when I did it without it, it wasn't working. Insert and delete worksheets. So it says insert a new worksheet. So remember at the beginning of the video, I said Excel, you can add multiple worksheets. You just click the plus sign down here, click next, delete the worksheet. Delete, close. I did a right click on the name sheet 2. There's other ways to do it. I did a right click. Rename worksheets and change tab color. Rename a worksheet to apply a tab color. Let's do that. Rename the worksheet tab Rental Days. You can just double click on where it says Sheet 1 and then start typing. Rental Days. Done. And it says change the tab color to blue accent 1. Let's see. Tab color. Blue accent 1. And you'll notice that it's blue at the bottom. All right. Move and copy worksheets. Copy the Rental Days tab to the end of this workbook. Show hint. Right-click the Rental Days tab and select Move or Copy. Choose Move to the end. Move or Copy. Move to end. Right-click Rental Days, select Move or Copy. Choose Move to end. Oh, I think I clicked it wrong. Hang on. Move or Copy. Hang on. I did that. Let's try that again. Right-click the Rental Days tab, select Move or Copy. Choose Move to End in the Before Sheet list. Oh. And then create a copy. And then click OK. Now we have two of them down there. Move the Rental Days to a worksheet so it appears before the other one. I dragged and dropped. You can also right-click and go to the move, just like we practiced in the previous step. But so I just dragged and dropped with my mouse and my cursor. Pause and practice. Please do all the pauses and practices in chapter 1, please. Navigate using the name box. Navigate using commands. Find a command. Let me try. Open the Find and Replace dialog box in the Find tab. To the Find. What? Click the Find and Select button and select Find. Oh, I read it wrong. Find all instances of the number 33. By searching only values. Values. And click Find All. Review the instances found and close the dialog box. All right, let's keep going. We're almost done. Modifying screen appearance of a workbook. You can zoom, Change the zoom to 110% on this file. Down here at the bottom, 110%. If you'll notice, I was in the lower right-hand corner, and it was set at 100%, and I increased it to 110. Click Next. Change the zoom level back to 100. I use the arrow, or the minus, I'm sorry. Click Close. Freeze and unfreeze. So if you've got a worksheet and you've got a ton of columns and you need to look at the first column for the labels, but you need to look at like column Z that's not showing on your screen, but every time you scroll over, you lose the first column. You can freeze the first column and keep everything scrolling so that this first column always shows so you can always see the labels. You can also hide or unhide worksheets. You can use the ribbon. You can view two worksheets at the same time. Manage page, print, and document settings. There's page setup dialog boxes. I use this when I'm printing big documents. Change the worksheet orientation to landscape. I think it's in view. Excuse me. Click the orientation. Oh, sorry, I was in the wrong tab. All right, next, center the worksheet horizontally on the page. You'll notice the light gray dotted line that has appeared. That shows you that if you were to print right now, that's where the cutoff is going to be. So if you've got a worksheet that crosses all of this, then it would be cut off. And we can force it to print on all in one page, but it's showing you kind of where your page lines are. Center the worksheet. Excuse me. Ooh. I'm not as tired as what it seems like. Center the worksheet horizontally on the page. Click the page setup. Open the page setup dialog box, which is this one down here. Click the margins tab. Click the horizontally checked box. And then click OK. So what it did was it's going to center it on the printable page. So it doesn't necessarily change it on the view of the worksheet itself, but when you're ready to print, it centers it across the page. Headers and footers, similar to when we were in Word and we learned how to insert header and footers. Add the sheet name element to the header of this worksheet. Add the file name element, insert. Where are my headers? I don't remember all of a sudden. Click, I did, well, it's there. Insert, click header and footer. Am I blind? Text box. Come on now. Header and footer. Select go to, wait, let me back up. Click the header and footer, did that. Click the sheet name element. Done. Select go to footer. The navigation group. Click the file name in the header and footer element. And then it says click a cell below the header. Done. Page breaks. You know, I was showing you that, and you can't really see it on the screen, but that dotted line, it shows you where the end of the page is. Preview and remove a manual page break, print grid lines. You have a print area, which is where those gray dotted lines were, like that's the page. You can also highlight and say, I only want to print this highlighted portion. You can do that. All right. Print this worksheet. File, print. Close. I'm going to stop sharing the screen for just a second. I'm going to pull something else up. I want to show you something that I don't think that the chapter 1 kind of walkthrough showed you. Um, all right, let me share my screen again. I just opened a blank Excel workbook. Okay. There are a few things it just didn't show you, and I want to kind of go backwards a little bit. First, the tabs at the top. All Microsoft products have these tabs. They just differ depending on the product. Some remain the same. There's always going to be a home tab. Okay. Now, each cell is labeled here in the corner. Okay. If you're not sure where you're highlighting something, it's going to show you right there. Here is the formula bar. Again, if you're telling it to do something, you have to start with the equals button. Then you can tell it. Okay. Now, you can double click on the sheets down here. You can make things big, small, change the font, and we did some of that already. One thing it didn't do was start you from a blank page to show you kind of how all of that works. So take some time to play in Excel if you're new to it. Each cell takes words, numbers, all the things, but it only starts adding and subtracting and doing magic when you tell it to very specifically. Remember that the general button here where it says general, you're changing the style. If I typed 2 with a diagonal line 1, so 2 diagonal line 1, it automatically assumed I was talking about a month, February 1st. It's not February 1st. I just wanted to 1. But here we go. So I've got to go back and change it. Hang on. Come on now, Excel. Text. 2 dash, whoops. I didn't mean to do that. 2-1. So changing it to text, let it stay how I typed it. But the diagonal line also means divide. So 2 divided by 1. 2 divided by 1 means February 1st. You get the point. Be very mindful of what you're typing and what the intention is. Also, always check what this is stating. If something, I just typed 2 diagonal line 1, and I got 6 different answers depending on which style was listed. I don't want to overwhelm you or overshare. Just know, play in Excel for a little bit. Redo chapter 1 100 times if you need to. Don't let Excel overwhelm you. For those of you in the digital marketing program, you're going to have to take an advanced Excel class after this one. So I need you in it to win it for Excel, understanding how it works. For those digital marketing people, I teach the marketing analytics, and we do some advanced Excel formulas to analyze some data. If you're in that program, take the Excel portion of this class extremely seriously. You will need it. Most of us will use Excel, no matter what your major is. I don't care what your major is. Welding, nursing, business, whatever. Most of us will use Excel in our work life. Most of us will at some point. We won't use it as much as we use something like Word because typing documents in a generalized form, regardless if it's work orders at an automotive dealership or whatever, take Excel, this part of Excel seriously. So if you struggled with chapter 1, I want you to go back and I want you to do it again and again and again and again. Okay? You've got this. Don't stress. Reach out. If we need to Zoom and do it together, we can do that. Just holler at me and ask, okay? Um, I am gonna stop now because I don't want to overwhelm you. Um, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, have a great week and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.